first why it's still maintaining its value and why it has a good like reflection about whoever holds the CISSP. CISSP, as I told you, it's not a straightforward exam. I mean, unless you really understand the basics, you will not be able to get the certificate. Second point, it's a little bit tricky, but I'm going to show you tricky in which sense. Third, and this is the most important part, it doesn't have any workaround. Okay, I mean, right now, a lot of certificate, you are able to take it remotely. I mean, you know, they will CH and some of the ISACA certificate, and a lot of them now, especially during the pandemic and still till now, you can apply for the exam and take it from home on your laptop, and they will tell you it's proctor based and or proctor monitored by a proctor, and you have to open the camera, but actually what is going on, you can see right now online, especially in LinkedIn, I believe all of you face the same. You are getting a lot of messages from people telling you, we can take the certificate on behalf of you. We can take the exam and get you a certificate. It has workaround. There is a lot of certificates that can be taken by different people. That's why it's not trusted, okay? So CISSP is the only ones that you cannot do it this way. Actually, last year, IC2 decided to allow people to take the certificate online. And during this month, where people start registering and taking the exam online, and we start seeing a lot of advertising from different testing centers worldwide in a specific country telling we can take the exam on behalf of you. You know what IC2 did? They canceled all the exams that was taken remotely. And whoever takes the exam, they send them another voucher and told them, listen, forget about what the exams that you took. It was pass or fail. Here is a new voucher. And you have to go to a testing center and take the exams. So it really maintained its accreditation and credibility. So it's really, really still valuable certificate. Now let's move to the certificate itself. I have to tell you that now, after going through all the topics that we covered during the program, I believe it should be much easier because I'm going to go through the outline in a very high level, and you're going to see that we covered most of them in a very realistic way. So before going through the resources that you should use and how you should plan to take the exam, and how can you know before sitting for the exam if you are ready or not, let me just go in a very high level about the content of the exam. By the way, I created in our share folder, you will find a folder called CISSP exam preparation. And I organized all the documents. You have the book in one place, you have the presentation in a different place, the exam practice question, and the documents that I'm showing right now is this one, is from IC2. This is the documents that include all the exam information. Now, to be able to pass the CISSP exam from the first attempt, you have to work topic and domain based. If you're gonna study the full course and then prepare for the exam and sit for the exam, 100% you're gonna fail. It doesn't work this way. You have to take it domain by domain, and each domain you have to take it topic by topic. Keep in mind that that CISSP, they always say about it, it's 1 mile wide and 1 inch deep, which means it covers many topics, but just 1 inch deep about each topic. And if you read any of the CISSP book, you will find it very straightforward. They are not diving in any topic deeply. They are not diving in encryption deeply or network deeply, just a brief about each topic. But why people failing? Because the tricky part of the exam, which you're going to explain. So the exam, I don't want to spend time explaining how many questions, the time of the exam, the passing score, everything is inside the document. We have 8 different domains, and the exam questions are divided not equally. Some domains may have more questions than other domains, like security and risk management. 15% of the exam will come about that, while asset management 10%. So we have different like amount of question related to the domain. So what I need to do exactly, you need to do the following. First, you need to have an Excel sheet, and you need to take domain by domain and identify the topic in each domain. And please follow my plan. Really, it will make a lot of sense once you start working. So I will have a sheet like that because you need to track your weakness. People always in the CISSP, they have some strengths area and some weakness area. If you need to pass, you need to identify your weakness area. So as you can see here, this is the course outline, and I need to go to each domain. So I will start with the first one, for instance. Okay, so the first one, which is about security and risk management. This is domain one. You need to take topic by topic. So first topic, understand and apply security. So this will be taking as a subject, and this will be taking as a subject. Don't take the domain as a subject. No, the first domain, which is the security and risk management, will be the first domain that you need to write down here. And inside the first domain, you will identify the topic under the domain. Okay, guys, bear with me. Just it will make a lot of sense within few minutes. So here we have different domain. We have understanding the security, understanding the governance, understanding. So you start taking subject by subject and put it under each domain. Because from those subjects, you're going to need to identify what are the topics that you are not able to cover well and work on it. Okay, so you follow the same steps for each domain, take them topic by topic. Okay, just to be able to track your progress and so on. So you complete all the 8 domain, and each domain all the subject that is under this domain. And before doing that, if you go in a very high level, you will see, according to the program that you covered, the cybersecurity specialist program, what was the topics that you really practice? What about like governance? Governance, you know about governance? What about compliance? What is now your understanding for compliance and regulation? So while you are going, just go through the point and try to map it to the knowledge that we do, because it will save you a lot of times. You don't need to read definitions now. You know what it's all about. You just need to understand what exactly is the knowledge that you need to be aware of for the exam purpose. So going topic by topic, it will really clarify what you learned, and also you will be able to like map between your current knowledge and between the topic. Asset management. I believe we spend a lot of time talking about asset security, identifying the asset register, identifying the classification, the asset custodian and owner. So going through the topic, it will really make you feel comfortable that this is a doable subject. It's not that hard to do, and it's not that complicated. Okay, so going topic by topic, we will see that it's not that bad. Okay. So, okay, the first step is to identify the topics inside an Excel sheet, so you will be able to know exactly each domain cover which topics, and accordingly we can track which topic you are comfortable with and which topic you are not comfortable with. Second, I need to study from one source. Studying the CISSP should not be taking time, okay? Because actually it's not that deep. What should take time from your side, and you should spend a lot of time doing that, is the exam practice question. Because sometimes you're going to study the topic, you will find it straightforward, very easy to understand, and you practice during the program, and you saw real template and real document and real process, but you sit for the exam, nothing. It's a complete different questions, and it has a lot of tricks, and it's not really what it's tricky. It's not straightforward. So from where should I study? Here is what you should do, because there is a lot of books and a lot of resources and a lot of topics. I will suggest that you use 2 different resources for studying and not spending much time. Most of the time will be spent on practicing questions. So I want you to go through the PowerPoint presentation. Those are the 8 domains. Okay, it's really useful and it goes through a lot of topics. There's a lot of example. Go through the presentation, and while you are reading the presentation, use the book that came with the presentation. It's inside the book folder. I added a lot of additional resources, but the ones that I want you to study is the first one, because this one is no, actually, I'm sorry. Is I think this one. Yeah, this is the one which is relevant to the presentation. So each slide is explained in depth in this book. So you can work on the presentation and the book, but just reading. I mean, don't go that deep unless you are not familiar with the topic. Okay. The remaining resources and books, those are additional resources. If one of the topic you need to know more about it, you can check Cybex, you can check any other book. Okay. So each domain should not take more than 2 days. Just go in a very high level, because even the level of explanation will be very, very simplified. It will not be deep. Okay. Then what?
Excuse me?
Yes.
You said each domain should not take more than 2 days. How many hours?
I will say, because some domain will be quite big and some domains will be smaller, so you can divide. But I will say, like, maybe a couple of hours maximum, but fully dedicated for that. Okay. But again, you don't have to worry. Even if you didn't cover 100% of the domain, you don't have to worry. But go through it, identify the point that is new to you, read about it. This is how deep you need to go. Now, what is the next step that you need to do before starting practicing question? And practice question will be done domain-based. You will evaluate your knowledge after each domain. You will see if you covered the domain well or not, and then move to the next domain. You will not move to the next domain unless you cover the previous domain completely. And I'm going to tell you how can you know that. Now, to tell you what will be the next step after reading the domain, reading in a very high level, not reading in a deep level, okay? To explain the next step, you need to understand the type of question that you're going to see inside the exam, okay? Inside the exam, we have 3 different types of questions. Let me get back to the document. We have the scenario-based questions, and this is where all the tricks will come. And scenario-based, I will tell you exactly what needs to be kept in mind for scenario-based. So it will give you a scenario and it will tell you what needs to be done in this scenario. And you will notice that the 4 answers are kind of similar. But the scenario-based, you need to think from IC² perspective, not from your own opinion. And this is what you will be gaining during practicing the question. The exam practice questions that I prepared has a lot of those tricks. So after a while, you will be careful about the exam questions, and you will know exactly how can you identify these tricks. So the exam or the questions related to the tricks, you will not be able to crack those kind of questions unless you practice. Okay, not by studying, because studying will not show you the tricks inside the exam. But what will show you the tricks is practicing the exam that I will share with you. Okay. Second type of the question, this is what will take time from you, is questions that need memorization. So, for instance, type of encryption, type of network protocol, type of access control. You have to memorize some information to pass the exam. There isn't anything you can do about it. You have to memorize it. Okay. But the good thing is that there is a couple of documents from where you can get those information. And literally, you will have to memorize those documents. So if you memorize those documents, especially one of them, you will be able to crack those kind of questions, because it doesn't have any kind of like smartness or any kind of, you have to memorize it. No other way. If we are talking about a specific encryption protocol, he's asking you about the type. If you don't know the type, you will not be able to answer. Okay. So what should I do in this part? I should work on those two documents. And I can tell you those are the most two important documents inside or for people who are preparing for CISSP. If anyone missed those documents, he will not pass the exam. It's called the sunflower document. And I will focus on version 1. Okay, there is version 1 and version 2. I will tell you what exactly you need to do. Version 1 was related to the previous version of the CISSP. CISSP 5-6 years back, it used to be 10 domain, not 8. So couple of people created this document and they summarized the full content of the document in 25 pages. Okay, and it's really, really organized. And if you just do a small search online about people experience who pass the exam, you will really find anyone who passed the exam, they always use this document, okay? Because it summarizes everything. It talks about each topic, just a small paragraph. I mean, I can tell you to study directly from here, but I don't think this is the right approach. But I believe maybe some people, if they study the sunflower, they can pass the exam, but they are taking some risk, okay? So when you go to this document, for instance, if you go to some of the the document that needs some memorization, like network, for instance, okay? So you'll find he's talking about some network protocol, just a brief description about some of the network attack, one line description about each one of them. So it's a 25 page, except you gonna literally need to memorize it, but it's not hard to memorize it. If you study after each chapter, you finish the chapter, and you study the sunflower for this chapter from here. So you get to know exactly the main point of the chapter, because here also they are highlighting on some of the point. When you read this document, sometimes they will tell you, you will find the line that is underlined, like here. They will tell you, let me just zoom a little bit. They will show you some of the exam tricks. So let me show you. Sometimes you will find something written in capital letter or it's underlined. You will know that this is an exam tricks. So I just want to show you something. Yeah, let's go here. So when you see that, they are putting something underlined, so they will tell you, for instance, don't forget that mandatory access control, it also have a different name, role-based access control. You can find this point inside the exam. It was done in a very, very professional way that even the trick of the exam, they highlighted. It could be underlined, it could be in capital letter, but when you study from here, you will highlight or you will get to identify some tricks of the exam. There was like a common question. Let me show you something nice. Inside the exam a few years back, it was about the fences, okay? Remember when we had a discussion about security controls, we have a preventive, we have a detective, we have a corrective, and we keep giving example like the antivirus is considered what, the door, the surveillance cam. Remember, guys, this discussion? Guys, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So there was a question inside the exam saying, okay, fences, is it a preventive layer or a detective or a deter or what kind of layer is it?
Physical. It's a physical layer.
No, we don't have a physical layer. It's like, is it a preventive? It prevents. It's like a door, or is it a deter? It's an indication that you should not like unauthorized people only, something like that.
Yeah, so it's deterrent.
Yeah, many people thought it's a preventive, right? And it makes sense because it's like a door. But here is telling you fences cannot prevent any intruder. You will find that written here, okay? So, which means it's not a preventive. It will tell you that do not consider, I don't know where it was written inside this document, but there is one note saying that no fences can prevent an intruder. So it's not a preventive, okay? So this is the kind of tricks that people may not notice inside the exam. And this is how IC Square is considering the training. So after finishing each domain, after studying each domain, you need to study the similar part or the part related from the sunflower document. And you need to memorize it literally. Okay, memorize everything inside this document before practicing the exam practice question. Okay, now the problem with sunflower is that we have two different versions. Okay, so we have version 1, which called the CISSP summary. This was the most professional one. And we have version 2, which is the latest one. Now, version 1 was mapped to the 10 domains. So even the name of the domain here will be different. Okay, while version 2 is mapped to the new one, and it includes some new topic like cloud security and so on. But it was not done in that professional way like version 1. So I don't trust version 2 that much, but version 1 is still valid and effective, except it's missing some topics. So what you need to do, you need to do your own sunflower document, in a sense of, if you study the first domain, you will go to version 1 and get all the points related to domain 1 and copy it in a Word document. Okay, and whatever is not in version 1, take it from version 2 and put it in a Word document. So create your own sunflower document from version 1 and version 2, because version 1 was very, very powerful and still is, and version 2 include more information, except it's not that accurate like version 1. But this is your core document. This is more important than the book and the presentation. You got my point? Because it will cover the memorizing point. I cannot study 900 pages and memorize all the information inside, right? I need someone to give me a summary. What needs to be memorized for the exam? Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So according to that, I'm going to take domain by domain. I will read it in a high level from the book and the presentation. Take some notes. Spend a couple of days, a couple of hours every day, and take some notes, and then once I finish, I'm gonna map it to all the information to sunflower, because here you will find the same information that you read, but in depth. And what do you need to know exactly about this kind of terminology or about those definitions, and what is the tricky part that you may find inside the exam. Done? After finishing that, then you need to see if you covered the domain in a proper way or not, okay? I'm talking domain based. I mean, finish domain by domain and spend most of your time in the exam practice question, because it's from there where you will get the real knowledge. So then you're gonna go to exam and you will find this document CISSP 2021. And I'm updating those exams frequently. Every 6 months, I'm putting new questions. And I divided those exams in two different ways. I have the domain evaluation exam, okay, domain 1, domain 2, domain 2, and I have below 6 final exams. Okay, so first you're going to work domain by domain. So first you're going to take the first exam. It's a full exam, 150 questions, and this is the password. And the exam will give you your score if you once you finish. So you will take the first exam after studying the material and studying sunflower, which is extremely important, and you're going to check your score. If you get more than 85% in the first exam, you're good to go. I mean, you cover this domain very well, and you can move to domain 2, and you don't have to worry if you got any question about this domain inside this exam. Okay? If not, you are not ready. But you are not ready doesn't mean that you have to start all over again. you will go to this Excel sheet and see exactly which questions from those topics you were not able to solve correctly inside the exam. What is the concept that was not clear to you? And you need to work on that. You can even drop me an email. I will send you more resources. I will send you some summarizing details about this topic. But it's very important to know why you didn't get 85%. 84 is not enough. You have to work on a high expectation, so you will not have any chance to fail the exam. You got my point? So getting 85% will make you comfortable that you can move to domain number 2. But even the 15% that you failed in, also have a look on it. Check what was the problems that I have. Cloud security, virtualization, what was the problems that I was not able to solve? Okay, so even if you get 85% and you are clear to move to the next domain, you still need to see what was the weakness according to the topic. And don't take them randomly. Work according to this sheet, because those are the topics that you have to study for the exam. And you need to know exactly what is the topics that you are not comfortable with. Okay? And you have to follow that for the 8 domains. Some domains are quite easy. It will not take time at all. Asset management, very, very easy. Security testing, very, very easy. Some domains will be, it's easy, but it takes time, like first domain or third domain. It has a lot of topics. So they will take, some of them will take time. I mean, because you're going to start with one big domain. Domain 1 is a big domain. But second domain is a small domain. So don't take an impression that all the domains are that big. It will take time. Some of them will take time and some of them will take less time.
So one question.
Please go ahead.
Do you advise that when we study the book and the PowerPoint slides, do we go through like domain based on the slide and the book, and then go for the practice exam, finish one domain, then move according to the step again, and then go to another domain?
Exactly. So you're going to consider each domain separate course. You are preparing yourself or separate certification, and you have an exam to pass the certification. So you are taking domain as a full course. Domain, sunflower, exam practice question, pass, good to go. Then you move to domain 2. Okay.
Okay.
This is the most effective way. But if you study the full course and then start practicing and then start tracking, it will take a long time. Okay. And you follow the same for all the domain. And as I told you, some domains are quite small. Some domain will take some time. 1 and 3, it's taking some time because they are covering a lot of topics. Encryption and architecture and security. So domain 1 and 3 are the ones that will take some time. Other domains, it's like much easier and it will take less time. But don't take any risk. Don't move from domain to domain unless you pass the domain evaluation exam with more than 85%. Agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Once you finish those 8 domains, it means you covered the course. You finish the course. I gave you 8 different exams. I'm sorry, 7 or 6. 7 different exams. Okay, and those exams, 6 exams, I'm sorry, are much harder than the real exam. They are really harder. Okay, if you get the passing score, which is going to be 75%, it's actually 70%, but let's assume it's 75%. If you pass those exams, the 7 exams, you are ready to sit for the exam. If you are facing any challenge with any topics, then you need to work on it and then take the exam one more time, and then you will be ready to sit for the exam. The point is, by doing those exams, you will be comfortable yourself. I mean, by taking that much of exam and getting to know the problems that you are always facing, the weakness, the topics that you are not really comfortable with, you don't understand, it will give you the confidence to sit for the exam. Because also sitting for the exam needs some kind of confidence. So you will feel confident. Yeah, now I covered all the topics. I took many exams. Some of them were really hard exams. I'm ready to sit for the exam. So you will get to know. You will not have to take any chance or any risk. Should I sit for the exam? Is it like I'm ready for the exam or not? Following this plan will have less risk to fail in the exam. So those exam practice questions, I'm updating them frequently. And if sometimes the password is not working, just let me know, because I'm also changing the password from time to time. But you will always find them inside your share folder. I'm keeping everything here. But this is the latest exam because it was recently modified. The content of the training was updated beginning of this year, I believe in May. So this is the latest one, and I believe this will be the best approach for that. The good thing about CISSP, it will also add to your knowledge in the cybersecurity. I mean, now after completing our program, after going through the program, and after going all those topics, so now you are not studying the topic theoretically, but you are studying also from a realistic perspective. So it will also add to your knowledge. It will add to your skills as well, especially in the scenario-based question. You will see a lot of scenario-based. You will see a lot of some of them it's quite rare, but you will get to think realistically. So it's a benefit of having a certificate in general, and also it will be benefit to your own knowledge as well. Okay. So this is my plan. Two main document here: sunflower and the exam practice question, domain based and final exam. I believe this will make you ready for the exam in a short period of time. So this is my plan. And it's tested. Just Google it, type my name CISSP on Google. You will see people who wrote their feedback on Reddit and wrote their feedback on IC Square website. So you will get to see, and even study notes. You know, study notes website. I'm sorry, group study notes. CISSP study notes. It's a very common Facebook group. It's the most the biggest Facebook group for people who are preparing for the CISSP. Even the admin of this group, his name is Luke, he followed the plan and he wrote a review about this plan in his own group. So it's tested. I'm not suggesting something. It's tested, and it's gonna work. If you follow the same way, it's gonna work. I can assure for you. So I'm done from your side, from my side. If you have any question, any of you, please let me know.
Dr. Atef, I just want to confirm something. So how you say we should go about this is we go on with domain one, and
Yes.
the PowerPoints, and then the domain, and then we go through the sunflower and then practice question.
Correct. And you should not move to domain 2 unless you pass the domain evaluation exam with a score more than 85%. But the point is, what I need to tell you is that don't spend much time in the studying phase from the book and the presentation. You know what I mean? Because you will notice that the knowledge is quite simple. Don't try to look for other books and other resources. The knowledge will come while you are taking the exam practice question or while you are studying the sunflower. That's why I didn't put that much attention on the study part. Besides, some of you guys maybe are already qualified. I mean, I know people who started already, but I will not suggest that. But some of my students, they start taking the exam practice question and identifying their problem and accordingly study whatever they are missing. But the reason they did that, they already studied the course many times and they failed in the exam. So they just wanted to know where are the parts that they need to work on it. They don't want to start from beginning. But again, I will not suggest this approach. It may be less time, but it has higher risk. So I will suggest my approach. I think this will be more effective.
Hello?
Yes.
I was going to ask, when you study one and you didn't get up to 85, one of the domains, I understand that you recommend us not to try the same practice questions again. where do we get more on the same domain, like domain 1 or domain 3? That's very bulky. Where do we get another one so we don't repeat the same questions again?
Okay, this will not be a problem. If you fail one of the domain and you work on it and you prepared yourself and you need another domain evaluation exam, I will provide it for you.
Okay, and how many questions do you recommend we take? Because I hear people say I need to take like 3,000 questions, 5,000 questions before I can be ready for the exam.
It's not about the number of questions, it's about the source of questions. I mean, you may solve thousands, but they are not from the right places. So it will not be useful. In each exam that I provide, they have 150 questions, but they are really real questions, hard questions. Not hard to make things, but this is the kind of exams questions. You know what I mean? So it's, again, a lot of websites sell those questions, but how effective they are. I got that from different sources, from different well-known sources. And I was able to collect according to the topics and according to the difficulty of the source. Not just to select the hard one, but even to select the common scenarios. So that's why I'm updating them frequently. So don't count by the number of questions. It's about from where did you practice those questions. So it came from different sources. I cannot announce about them, but different well-known sources. Yes, Esther, if you have any question.
Thank you.
Okay. Who was up first?
Yes, Sam, I'm sorry. Yes, Samuel.
All right, thank you. I have two questions. The first one, when you were teaching, you mentioned 3 types of questions. You mentioned one was scenario-based. I want the other 2. Then the second question is, please, can you show me where you have to study first before you come to the sunflower? I didn't get that one. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, there is 3 type of question. First one is scenario-based, and this you will get to know while you are practicing the question. What is the tricky part? Sometimes they will always ask for the positive. The negative. What should not be done? What is not the best practice? This kind of question. But once you practice, you will get to learn about that. Second question is a definition question, and this you can solve if you study the sunflower because it summarizes all the information. Third one is the naming questions. They used to ask about different naming. What other name for role-based access control, this kind. And also this will be covered in the sunflower. From where should you study? One more time, from books, it's here. You should find the second document. This is the book. It's not a big one. And the presentation, because I know some people prefer to study from the presentation. The presentation are available on the PowerPoint. So you have a book and you have a presentation. If you need more resources, you will find. If you have time, you need to dive deep, it's fine. You have more books here, you have Cybrix, you have a lot of other resources here you can study. But those are the first 2 resources, the book and the presentation. And then you have sunflower, and finally you have the exam practice question. Is it clear?
Yes, please. How long should you take to write these exams?
You mean to prepare or to sit for the exam?
The preparation, because sometimes they change the questions, and you also said you review them. So I wanted to know that if you are studying, how long should at least take you to be able to get ready to go and write the exams. Thank you.
Okay. It depends about how time you will allocate for studying, and it depends about the effort you did during the program. If you attended all the session and submit all the assignment, I will take from 2 to 3 weeks. Studying maximum couple of hours per day, working days, even weekend, you don't have to do anything about it. Okay, because you will find a lot of similarity, a lot of points that we covered already, formula, document, and so on. You just need to spend time memorizing the sunflower and practicing the exam practice question. If you start from scratch, not from scratch, you have the basics knowledge from the program about asset risk compliance and so on. I will say from 4 to 5 weeks maximum. also slowly. I mean, you are taking it slowly. So it shouldn't take that much of time. And you should spend more time on the exam practice question, less time on the studying. Because studying, you will find that a lot of knowledge you are aware of, but how they are showing it inside the exam, this is the real problem. Someone, did I answer your question?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Esther, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to ask, you mentioned a group on Facebook. You said study notes. Is it study
Yes.
notes and theory?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is, by the way, I will suggest all of you to attend, to join this group, because most of the people who sit for the exams, they will share their experience. It was a tough exam, it was easy, they got more questions about this domain than less this domain. So you will find a lot of people experience with, which is very, very useful. So this is an old group, I mean, like since maybe 10 years or 9 years or something like that. And you will find a lot of resources. You will find a lot of people sharing their experience. It's called CISSP Study Note and Theory. And it's of course free, but you have to request to join and they will approve, and it's useful. It will let you be updated if there is any change in the exam, how things are going, if people use the different resources and so on. Any more questions?
Sorry, please, can you mention the study group again and where can you find it?
Facebook. Just search on Facebook. It's called, let me show it to you. Let's go to Google. Called CISSP Study Note and Theory. They have a website, but I suggest that you join his group, because I believe his Facebook group. So just go to Facebook and search for Study Note, Study Notes and Theory.
Thank you.
Very, very useful.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I hope the session was informative, and I hope you all consider to sit for the CISSP exam, because it's really important. And we spend a lot of time preparing for jobs, and so now we need to fulfill whatever is missing. So this is a big asset, and it's well known in organization, in HR department. Sometimes they will request the certificate in HR department. So please consider, and keep in mind that less people are CISSP certified. I mean, it's not common like other certificates. So whoever holds certificate, it's valuable. Forget about the prerequisite. You need to have 5 years experience or 3 years of experience and a college degree. There is a work around that. You don't have to worry about this point, because this is actually will be requested after you take the exam. So don't worry about that. Someone can endorse you. You can hold the certificate until you fulfill the requirements. So it's not really the challenge. The challenge is to pass the exam and get certified. Okay. Before I close, there was a question about the CISSP exam. CISSP, it's similar to CISSP, except it's less domain. I think it's 4 or 5 domains. Same topics. It's a very straightforward exam. If you plan to take CISSP or CRISC, for you guys, I will add a folder for ISACA exams. It has the document and the exam practice question. It's much easier. Okay, you can study whatever I'm put, and you'll be able to pass it from the first attempt. It's not really challenging. Okay, but my main concern is CISSP, and I'll be available for your support until you sit and pass for the exam. So if you face any problem, any challenge, you need any resources, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Thank you.
Also, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I'm just wondering, right? For the application for work for the job, when you see titles like GRC, analyst, and things like that, would that be similar to cybersecurity analyst? And second question is, would different certification like CISA would be more appropriate for that, or not?
Okay, first question, GRC, we already spoke about GRC in one of the session, and I shared with you, I don't know if you were there, Jerry, or not, but there is a lecture about GRC. It's an application that manages the asset and risk and compliance and audit. It manages everything within an application instead of managing through Excel sheets. So check this lecture, I think it may help you. But GRC, it's what we are doing, except it has a workflow and some kind of automation. But check the lecture. I think you will see the real GRC application we work, or I shared with you Archer. It's one of the software for GRC. But you can apply for GRC if you are, because it's not about the title, it's about job description. Some people may write the title with a different job description. So always focus about job description, because you may find two different companies, they request the same position, but job description is different. So focus or check the job description and see if it's applicable to you or not. Okay. This is first question. Second question, CISA, it's an audited certificate, right? CISSP also qualify you to work as an internal auditor. So because it's mapped with the ISO 27001 domains. So, but CISA, it's more into the audit part. So it's not bad to have CISSP and CISA, but I will consider CISSP is the major one. It's very similar to what we have been doing during the program, and similar to the positions that you are applying for right now as a specialist holding CISSP, make a lot of sense. Having more certificate, it's good, it's not bad. Having CISSP, CISA, having C-Risk, it's okay. It's better to enhance your skills, pass exam. But you should start with one valuable certificate, because you are in a critical phase right now. You are searching for a job in a different field, right? You need a lot of support. Whatever we are doing right now is just to get you to the interview. But after that, it's all yours. All the knowledge that you have, all the practice, all the assignment, it will reflect in the interview itself. But whatever we are doing right now to be able to get interviewed, to be able to get selected in interview, having CISSP definitely will be a very good asset in your career. Okay.
Thank you so much.